guys, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for stopping by. My name's Crystal and today we're going to go through the 5 self-help books that I think you guys should start reading today to start your spiritualization journey. Before we get into the video, do not forget to subscribe to my channel if you like videos like this. I do makeup and manifestation videos every Tuesday and Saturday on my channel. So if you like that kind of content, do not forget to have your post notification bell on so you know when I'm uploading. It's generally at 6 o'clock Australian Victorian time when they go up, but it's always safe to be sure and make sure that you have that notification bell on. Also, do not forget to give this video a big thumbs up if you like this kind of content. I am going to be diving more into scripture of spiritualization and self-help over the next couple of weeks, and some of these books here really have changed my life and I really feel like they can change yours. So let's get straight into the video. So I have been watching a couple of videos lately on this particular topic, and a lot of the books that these people were talking about in these videos I've actually read and I completely agree with, and I feel like once you start with one of these books you start to become very curious. You want to know more. You feel like there's a lot more content there that you need to learn. It's not just one book is going to solve all of your problems. I feel like they all connect to one another on some level, and I feel like the best book to start that is actually a very well-known book purely because of its cover. It is The Subtle Art of Not Giving a F word. This book is very well known. It's been on the market for a long time now. It's a bestseller. I've read this book twice already, and I do feel like every single time I read it I do still get something out of it. It's more or less talking about things that have happened in the world and that justifies what's being said, and using personal experiences as well. So the author, which is Mark Manson, talks about his childhood and how he came to a position of understanding how he was self-sabotaging himself, and then also talking about other versions of people within the world that kind of reached a level of enlightenment. I say enlightenment like this because enlightenment is very hard to attain. It's attainable, it's just very hard to reach there, and not many people in this lifetime or in any lifetime actually reach enlightenment. So it's very difficult to kind of put into a tangible way of explaining, but I'm sure by reading these books you'll totally understand where I'm coming from. Now, a lot of people have read this book. It's very popular. I know in Melbourne, Australia, it was everywhere for a while there. People were reading it on the trams, people were reading it in public places. It wasn't like obviously the cover's a little bit in your face, and that's what drew a lot of people in. But yeah, it's a great book. It's a very good starting point for this particular journey if you are interested in spiritualization per se, or learning about your inner self. This is a really good way to understand that, because it calls out a lot of issues that you might be aware of, but this actually calls it out and makes it relatable. So it's a really good way to start. Now, jumping off the back of this book, Mark Manson actually does have a second one that came out, I believe it was a year or so ago, I can't quite remember, but this one is called Everything Is the F word again, but it says a book about hope, which is really interesting. So I read this when I was over in England last year. I picked this up literally as soon as I saw it in the airport when I was flying out to England, and I literally read it non-stop when I was living in Newcastle upon Tyne up there. There was actually a phase where I went to Edinburgh in Scotland, and I would walk down to the park every single day from where we were staying, because my partner was working at the time at the hydro station, and I would take this book with me and I would read for an hour in the park. I would have people stop me and ask what I was reading, because again, it's another one of those covers that make people go, what is she reading? Like, is that an extremely crude book? Like, how dare she go in public with something that has that kind of language on it? But people would ask me about it, and genuinely it is such an interesting book. It talks about human behavior, and talks about things like religion and how you get into religion and how it provides hope to people, and how you literally can cling to different things in life to give you hope, but really hope should be within. Like, you should be creating your own hope. So it's a very interesting book. It does start off quite interesting in a sense that it talks about the Holocaust and how people who were affected by the Holocaust and were locked up were holding out hope for a period of time that life was going to go back to normal once they got to Christmas time. And that's what really stuck out to me and got me sucked into this book, is that the mentality that the people that were being impacted were going to be home for Christmas was what was keeping them going. And then when Christmas came around and the devastating effects of the Holocaust were still occurring, people just started losing hope and therefore dying. I know that sounds really terrible, but once hope is no longer present, it's when you let go and you lose the will to be anything, to even live. And it's just interesting how Mark Manson talks about it in this book, and literally goes through a lot of different scenarios, again like the original book, uses scenarios to explain how hope plays such an important role in every single day and making us our best selves. So these two together, I feel like once you read this book, you're pretty keen to get into this book. They're two very, very different books, but they're written in a very, very similar way, and they're a really, really great way to start your book journey in terms of scripture for spiritualization and self-development. So these are like the gateway books to get you in there, but again, they definitely have their place and they definitely provide a lot of benefits in terms of self-development. So that's the first two that I definitely have to mention. Another book that is super popular and super well known is this one called The Secret by Rhonda Byrne. I think that's how you say it. But yeah, I've talked about this on my channel before. This is generally where a lot of manifestation stuff starts. People start with The Secret, and that's when they get hooked on understanding the law of attraction, manifestation, and creating your own future. This book is such an easy way to get into it because it's such an easy read. There are a lot of examples in here of people that are very successful in the world who have used The Secret or the law of attraction to get their best lives. This goes through how to attain your perfect lover, how to attain money, how to attain anything that you want in life. This is the easiest, most well-known, most well-published book in terms of being able to do that. So this is a bit more tailored to spirituality versus self-development, but the two tend to go hand in hand, and this book is such an easy read. It's not too expensive either. It says here £17. So I'm pretty sure that would be something like $25 Australian or something like that. But I don't feel like it's too expensive for what you can get out of it. Now, all I can suggest when reading this book is being open-minded, because I remember when I was reading this, I was going to the gym at the time and I had this book in my hand when I was going to the gym, and somebody kind of like laughed at me for having it in my hand. They were just like, oh, that book doesn't do anything. And my response to them was, well, did you actually try? Like, did you actually practice what was being said in the book? Because I 100% agree with what they say in this book and how to attain these things, because it's not just about thinking something and then it will appear. It is a process, and you do have to follow through with that process, and you do have to believe in that process. And that is the key component of what this book is stating, is that you need to believe that you are worthy of what you want. Because if you don't believe that you're worthy, it's not going to come. Like, you need to be releasing the right energy to bring that thing into your life on the same frequency. You need to feel worthy. You need to feel like you deserve that in your life, and that you deserve it in your life now. So it's definitely something to be open-minded to. And if anyone does approach you and start laughing and saying that book doesn't work, do not let that negativity affect your frequency when reading this book, because that's their problem, not yours. The next book is You Are a Badass: How to Stop Doubting Your Greatness and Start Living an Awesome Life. Now, this has quite a few different books in this kind of You Are a Badass series. So there's another one called You Are a Badass at Making Money. I haven't read that one yet, but I've heard really great things. I really want to pick that up, but I wanted to start with this one. So this is by Jen Sincero. This is a really good book. I haven't read this in quite a while, so I'm kind of going back into the archives of my mind, but I do remember that it was a great way for me to call myself out on my self-limiting beliefs and how I was self-sabotaging my development and being my best version of myself. So it's much like a combination of the two books that we've already talked about by Mark Manson and by Rhonda Byrne. They literally are combined together in this book. So I feel like the other two books don't necessarily call out self-sabotaging beliefs as much as this book does, and it also calls out the fact that you care more about what other people think of you than what you think of yourself. And most of the time you think that people are thinking things about you that they're not. So you're creating a level of stress for yourself that's not actually real. So this book is really, really good in terms of helping you shift your mindset and making you become like realistic about the world around you. So I definitely think that this is a great book. I've heard so many people say amazing things about it, and I 100% agree. I am probably going to read this book again. I feel like these books are ones that you can read multiple times and you get something new from it every single time. But I think I'm going to read this one again, and then I'm going to purchase the You Are a Badass at Making Money, because money is something that I'm very passionate about. I love business, I love investing, I love all that sort of stuff. It's not so much something that I talk about on my channel, but I definitely think at the heart of my success is literally understanding this scripture. So all of these books offer something very different, and I definitely think that they build upon each other, and it's something that you can really turn into your best life. Now, this last book I am currently reading, I'm about halfway through it, and I would have to say it is the most important book you could ever read in your life. Now, this is called The Power of Now. I'm sure you've heard of it. It's by Eckhart Tolle. Now, this is like the book of all books. Now, I got to a point last night where I said to myself, I need to start highlighting stuff because this is really, really important. So as I was highlighting, like literally I'm highlighting so much, and like I had to stop myself from highlighting because I would highlight the whole page. But literally this book, it's so fast in terms of what it's teaching you, and every single thing that it says is so important that you need to be focused to read. This isn't like a light read. Like you don't just sit somewhere where a TV is playing in the background, or there's a lot of noise, or like a screaming child or something like that, because you will miss important things. And if you miss a certain line in this book, the rest of it won't make sense. So for example, I will read something that I highlighted last night to you that really stood out to me. Stress is caused by being here but wanting to be there, or being in the present but wanting to be in the future. It's things like that that you just never call yourself out on. So it talks about being in the now, that your mind is constantly thinking about the future. It's constantly trying to reflect on the past, that we never give ourselves enough space to be present and enjoy now, because now will never be again. So right now, me filming, I could be thinking about how I'm going to edit this video. I'll be thinking about when it's going to be uploaded. Like, I'm not actually enjoying the presence of being here with you guys and filming and hearing the sounds around me and being 100% present to enjoy life, to enjoy being me. Whereas like I feel like we're always thinking, oh, by 25 I want to be married, by 27 I want kids, by this point I want to buy a house. Like, we're always thinking of the next step. Talking about the future is what some people use as a guide for their actions. But if you're constantly using the future to guide your current, you're not actually ever living in the current, so you're never actually living. You're not trying to live for now, you're living for the future, which hasn't happened. It does talk about a lot of amazing things such as stress. It talks about things such as your ego taking over your mind. Honestly, this book, once I finish reading it, I'm going to do an entire video just on this book, because there are so many important things in here that I think everybody needs to read, everybody needs to hear. This should be a book that everybody reads in high school or in university or at any point in their lives. It's an incredible book. It's a book that you can go back to multiple times, and like, yeah, I've started highlighting pages because I want to be able to pick this book up, flick through it, read something and go, oh my gosh, I totally understand that. So this is probably the best book on the market right now to change your life. And honestly, this book puts all of these books, every single one, into perspective. So every single book that I've talked about today offers you something different. But if you could only get one book today, it's definitely The Power of Now. It is so mind-blowing. It's definitely worth the money. So that is everything from me, guys. I hope you guys took something really amazing from this video. I couldn't say enough amazing things about these books. They are literally everything. So definitely pick one up if you want to expand your space on the spiritualism journey, or if you're just starting out your spiritualism journey. There is a lot in here that you can look on about self-reflection, about growth. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed what I talked about today. If you have any questions about any of the books, please do let me know in the comments below. And also do not forget to like this video before you go if you like videos like this, and I will see you guys in my next one. Thanks, guys. Bye.